Welcome to the compiler design course. In the previous session, we discussed runtime environment in a compiler design. Today, we are going to see the intermediate code generation phase of the compiler. As source code, as we know, the compiler convert a particular high-level language into another type of language, or we can say that low-level language. For that, it is using several phases. By using several phases, it is going to convert the source code into target code. In that, the one of the phase is intermediate code phase, intermediate code generation phase. It is an optional phase in the compiler. Today, we are going to see the what is the need or what is the use of that intermediate code. A source code can directly be translated into its target machine code. Then why we need to translate the source code into an intermediate code, which is then translated to its target code? That is our question. What is the need to translate into intermediate code? Then they convert that intermediate code into target code. The compiler convert a program written in high-level language or source language to low-level language by several phases like lexical analysis, syntactic analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation, code optimization, then code generation phase. There are two major phases of compilation. We can group it into two groups. That is, first one is the front end, and then it is come to the back end of the compiler. The first phase, we can say that it is a analysis phase. Then the second group of phase is a synthesis phase. The first four phases of the compiler forms the front end, or we can say that it is a analysis phase. Then the last two phases, that is code optimization and target code generation, form the back end of the phase, or we can say that it is called synthesis phase of the compiler. So we can group the phases of compiler into two. That is, first one is synthesis phase, and second phase is the analysis phase. First phase the analysis phase, then second the synthesis phase. In analysis phase, the particular phase is all things are happen in the machine independent form. That is, it is not related to machine to which we are going to create the target code. The second the phase, that is the synthesis phase, or we can say that the back end, which is a machine dependent phase. So now we are going to see what is the need of that particular intermediate generation. If we generate machine code directly from a source code, then for n target machines, we will have to n optimizer and n code generation. So we are going to create a compiler for a particular machine, for a particular language. You can take it an example. Say if you are going to generate a particular C code for your language, then it must need the first front end of the compiler. We have to build the front end of the compiler. Then we need another code optimization and target code generation. Like that, if we generate machine code directly from source code, then for n target machines, then different target machine, different platforms, we need the n optimizer and n code generation phase. What if that is for coming to an example? Here we are taking n programming languages, as that is Java, Python, Pascal, C and C++, and we have different machines, or we can say that it will be different platforms, or we can say that different architecture also. Spark, MIPS and Pentium, and alpha. So we have different programming languages and we have different architecture. So if we generate a compiler for a particular language for each and every platform or machines, then it is very difficult. So in the case if we have Java, Python, Pascal, and C and C++, that is total 5 languages, and we have machines or platforms or architecture, Spark, MAPS, Pentium, and Alpha 5, 4 platform. Then we need uh, 4 compilers or 4 code generation and code target generation for Java. At the same time, we need 4 compilers for Python and Pascal and C. For each and every platform, we need a particular compiler for each and every programming language. So for Java, we need 4, and Python, we need 4 compiler, and Pascal, we need 4 different compilers for different platforms, and for C also we need 4 platform for different architecture, and C++ also we need a 4 platform for Spark, MIPS, Platinum, and Alpha. So if our system can if we develop the compilers for these particular languages, source languages, then we need total n into m compilers. That is, n is the number of programming languages and m is the number of platform or architecture. Then we need n into m compilers for these number of languages. That is the case. In our case, we need there are 5 programming languages and there are 4 platforms. So we need totally 20 compilers for the this particular set of language. That in a normal case we need this list. If we are not using the intermediate code generation, then we will need n into m compilers are necessary in the case of these 4 platform and 5 programming languages. If we are using intermediate representation or intermediate code, then just need n front end and m back end. That is, we are going to convert this program into intermediate code. Then from that we can convert to the platform dependent or machine dependent representation or machine dependent target code. So the only we need is convert the program if we take a particular language C, the source code of the C is converted into a intermediate code generation. Then that intermediate generation can be converted into any one of the platform dependent form. Here you can see that if we consider the Java, then we will convert the Java codes into the bytecode generation, that is intermediate code, bytecode. Then from that bytecode, that is that bytecode, intermediate representation or intermediate code, we can convert that into the target code for Spark and a target code for MAPS, target code for Pentium, and a target for Alpha. So there is no need of that is 4 different compilers. We need only the n front end for each and every programming language, and for m backend for each and every the architecture. That is the case. Now if we are using the intermediate representation or intermediate code, then just we need only n front end and m backend only. That is advantage of this or the use of need of this intermediate code representation. And if we are not using the intermediate representation, we need different compiler for different platform. For each and every programming languages, we need one compiler for a particular platform. That is the idea. If we are using the intermediate representation, then it is easy to convert a particular program, a source program into the intermediate representation, then based on the platform we can convert the intermediate representation into corresponding target machines. So if you are developing a new language, it is only need to convert that into a particular intermediate representation. From that we can convert into any platform, any new platform or any other platforms. So that is the use, or that is advantage of using the intermediate representation. If the compiler translates the source language to its target machine language without having the option for generating the intermediate code, then for each new machine a full native compiler is required. That is the idea. Then the intermediate code eliminate the need of a new full compiler for every unique machine by keeping the analysis portion same for all the compiler. The second part of the compiler, that is synthesis phase, is changed according to the target machine. Then it will become easy. It also become easier to apply the source code modifications. That is another phase is code optimization. So it is easy to modify the source code to one improved version to improve the performance by applying some code optimization techniques on intermediate code. That is the use of this compiler. That is if a compiler translates the source program into target machine without having the option for generating the intermediate code, then for a new machine a full native compiler is required. That is a situation. Then if the intermediate code eliminate the need of new full compiler for every unique machine by keeping the analysis portion same for the compiler. Then it is also easy to apply the code optimization techniques on the intermediate code. That is the use of this intermediate code representation. Then we are going to see some of the representation of the intermediate code generation, or we can say that the type of intermediate code representation. We can represent mainly the intermediate code in two types. That is, first one is linear form and non-linear form. In linear form, we can represent the intermediate code as the PostFix code, the three-address code, static single assignment. In non-linear form, we can represent the intermediate code as syntax tree, directed acyclic graph, or we can say the DAG, and control flow graph. So we are going to discuss each and every the representations one by one. First we will discuss the linear form representation of the intermediate code. For that, first you will see the PostFix code. You are all familiar with this code, that is PostFix code. In the PostFix code, the operand is placed at the rightmost end of the expression. If a particular expression contains an operator, then that operator is placed at the end of the expression based on the preference of the operator, or the priority of the operator. For that, you can take an example, x plus y star x plus y. Then according to the preference, the star have high precedence over the plus, but the parentheses have more precedence than all other functionality. So we will going to perform the parenthesis first. So we will evaluate the expression inside the parenthesis first. So we will evaluate x plus y first. So the corresponding PostFix code for x plus y is x y plus. First we will evaluate it. Then another parenthesis is there, so we will evaluate the same also. So the code will become x y plus star x y plus. Then we will apply the star operator, the corresponding positive expression will become xy plus xy plus, then at the end star. So this is how you already know the how to find out the positive expression of an in order expression. There is a idea of positive expression. So the positive expression or positive code is one of the linear form used to represent the intermediate code. The next representation is 3-address code. In 3-address code, a statement must contains or a statement can have a maximum or at most 3 addresses. There is one of the representation used to represent intermediate code in programming language. So it must have the code in which at most 3 address is allowed. So sometimes a statement might contains less than 3 also. So we can say that it is at most 3 address. A statement involving no more than 3 addresses or references, we can say that it is in 3-address code. And in some statement it contains, most of the time it contains 2 operand and 1 result. So that is the case of 3-address code. It must contains maximum 2 operands and 1 reference to the result. Totally 3, maximum 3 address. That is the case. For the example, you can see here example, that is x plus y star, then again x plus y. We are going to convert this expression into 3-address code. In this case, there are 4 reference, that is x, first x, then first y, then second x, then second y. So in this expression contains 4 reference. It is not in the 3-address code. So we have to convert this code into 3-address code, which may contains at most 3 reference. For that we are using intermediate results are stored in some temporary variables, t1, t2, t3, like that. So first we will generate the left combination of the parentheses, that is x plus y is evaluated first, then it is stored in a temporary variable t1. So it contains 3 references, that is first one is t1, then second one is x, then third one is y. That then we can use the t1 to evaluate the value of the expression, that is t1 star t1, because x plus y into x plus y. So now the result of x plus y is available at t1, so we can multiply t1 into t1 to get the result. So finally we will get t1 into t2, t1 into t1 in temporary variable t2. It also contains 3 references or 3 addresses, t2, t1 and t1. So in this way we are creating converting the code into 3-address code. There is one of the important representation. We will see the representation of different representation of 3-address code in upcoming sessions. The next representation is single static single assignment. You can say that SSA. It is also in the 3-address code. It is in 3-address code. Some speciality is that there that is every variable has a single assignment. That is every variable has a single assignment only. This more compact to 3-address code representation. That is, we are adding some restrictions here. That is, we are going to insert the restriction as every variable has a single assignment only. For that we are taking the same example, that is x plus y star x plus y. Then to convert or to the single static single assignment, we have to first convert it into the 3 address code. You already know how to convert the particular expression to 3 address code. The corresponding 3 address code is T1 equal to x plus y and T2 equal to T1 star T1. Then come to the 3 address code, first line, that is T1 equal to x plus y. Here x and y are used here and T1 is assigned a value. So T1 is going to generate a new value or assign a new value. So T1 has only one assignment in this three address representation. So it is in the SSA or SSA representation also. So there is no modification in the first line because T1 has only one representation or T1 has only one assignment or one meaning. We can say that one meaning. So the T1 equal to x plus y is same as SSA representation. Then come to the T2 also. T2 has only one meaning or a single assignment. So it will correspond to the SSA code for the source code. This is the specialty of static single assignment, that every variable has only one single assignment or single one meaning. The next representation is the syntax tree, which comes in the non-linear representation of the intermediate code. It is like the parse tree, but in this particular syntax tree, the internal node are operators and the child node are operands. So you can see that the expression x plus y star x plus y have two operators plus and star. So the internal node are filled with the operators and the child node are filled with the operands. So we will first evaluate the x plus y by using x and y as the child node, or we can say that the leaf node, and it will combine using the operator plus. Likewise, we are again calculating the right parenthesis also, that is x plus y. Now x and y are the leaf node or child node, then plus is the intermediate node or internal node. Then the result is can be denoted by T1, and then that T1 is multiplied to get the T2, that is the final result. So the result evaluated by x plus y is used to evaluate x plus y star x plus y. So we will get the final result. So it is another representation used to represent the intermediate code. Then the next representation, non-linear form of representation, is directed acyclic graph. It is a compacted, or we can say it is a optimized case of the syntax tree. Here we are converting this multiple computation to a single computation. In the syntax tree, you can see that the expression x plus y is evaluated twice. That is stored in T1 and T1 in the two different variables. That is T1 and T1. That is evaluated twice. So we can reduce this multiple duplication, or we can say that duplicate or unwanted computation can be eliminated in this syntax tree by using only one representation for this x plus y. So we would eliminate one of the computation, the same computation, and we will use the same result to calculate or evaluate the T2. So that become directed acyclic graph, that is representation. So we can say that it is a more optimized form of this syntax directed syntax tree. Then we will get the directed acyclic graph. This is about the representations. Then we will see the one more representation, that is control flow graph, in the upcoming sessions, and we will discuss more example based on these representation in the upcoming videos. Thank you.